Hello everyone. In today's class, we will see some more questions based on limits, continuity, and differentiability. Practice questions from 12 to 22. The images used in our slide deck are for educational purposes only. We respect the intellectual property rights of the original creators and owners of these images. If you are the owner of any of the images used in this deck and have any concerns or issues, please contact us at sathi@iitk.ac.in and we shall remove the images. Question 12 says, let S be a set equal to T belongs to R such that fx is equal to mod x minus pi into e to the power mod x minus 1 into sine mod x is not a differentiable function, not a differentiable at x at t. Then set S is equal to. So the hint of this question is you have to break this set in a piecewise function, as here you can see that when x less than pi, it will be pi minus x, right? When x is bit when x greater than pi, it will be x minus pi, right? Like this. Clear? When x is greater than 0, then this is e to the power x minus 1 simply, or sine x simply. When x is less than 0, it is e to the power minus x minus 1 into into sine minus x, like that, right? So this is the hint for this question. So you have 10 seconds to think about and solve this question. After 10 seconds, we will discuss the solution. Okay, let's move to the solution part. See, we have to break this function in a piecewise manner, right? So fx is given as mod x minus pi into e to the power mod x minus 1 into sine mod x. And fx can be broken as x minus pi. See, when x less than 0, x less than 0, that means less than 0, and like if x is less than 0, then x must be like less than pi, right? So it should be x minus pi, x minus pi into e to the power minus x. It should be pi minus x, right? Pi minus x e to the power minus x minus 1 into sine of minus x. Sine of minus x will be minus sine x, right? So minus will be common out, will be common. So it will be pi minus x becomes x minus pi, right? So when x less than 0, it will become x minus pi into e to the power minus x minus 1 sine x, right? When x is between 0 to pi, it will be minus of x minus pi into, since x is greater than 0, so it will be e to the power x minus 1 into sine x. Clear? And when x greater than equal to pi, it will be x minus pi into sine x minus pi into e to the power x minus 1 into sine x. Clear? We check the differentiability at x equal to 0 and pi. So now let's differentiate it. F dash x becomes c. When we differentiate this, we have to use product rule, right? When x less than 0, we can use product rule, right? By using product rule, c. First, we take this thing common and differentiate this both. Clear? This thing and this thing common, like x minus pi into e to the power minus x minus 1 common and differentiate sine x. So it will be x minus pi into e to the power minus x minus 1 cos x plus e to the power x minus 1 into sine x, e to the power x minus 1 into sine x, and differentiation of x minus pi is basically 1, right? Into sine x plus x minus pi into sine x. Now e to the power minus sine x can be differentiated as minus 1 into e to the power minus sine x when x less than 0. Now when x is between 0 to pi, let's differentiate. Again we have to use product rule. So minus of x minus pi e to the power minus sine x into cos x minus sine x into cos x plus e to the power minus sine x minus 1 e to the power minus sine x minus 1 into sine x plus x minus pi sin x e to the power minus sin x. Clear? When x is between 0 to, see, when x is between 0 to pi, it should be e to the power x minus 1, right? Not e to the power minus x. Clear? So everywhere e to the power x. Now, when x is greater than pi, again, when x is greater than pi, again, we can use product rule, and the differentiation will be x minus pi into e to the power x minus 1 into cos x plus e to the power x minus 1 into sin x plus x minus pi sin x e to the power x. Clear? Now, we can calculate limit x tending to 0 minus f dash x. See, 0 minus, we will use this, right? Because here x is less than 0. So f dash x, put x equal to 0. This term will be minus pi, and this term will be c. 1 minus 1, 0. This term will be 0. This term will be 0, and this term will be 0 also, right? Clear? X equal to 0 because sin x is 0 here. So this whole term will be 0. Clear? So limit x tending to 0 minus f dash x is 0, and limit x tending to 0 plus. In 0 plus, we will use this, right? So in 0 plus, this term will be 0. Clear? This term will be 0, and sin x, so 0. So this term, whole term will be 0. So it is also 0. Let's check for pi. So limit x tending to pi minus, pi minus, pi minus. Again, we use this term. Let's put everywhere x equal to pi. So this term is 0. Sin pi is 0, so this term is 0, and pi minus pi is 0, so this term is also 0. So uh, pi minus is also 0, and pi plus is 0 also by using this term, right? Pi plus, let's put x equal to pi, so this term will be 0. Here sin x is in multiplication, so this term is also 0. Here x minus pi, so we will put pi, pi minus pi is 0. So this term is also 0. Clear? So whole thing will be 0 at 0 and pi. Therefore, f is differentiable at x equal to 0 and x equal to pi. Clear? And we had to find the set where x is not differentiable, but x is differentiable everywhere. Hence, f is an empty set. Clear? So option A is the right choice. Phi, an empty set. Clear? Let's move to the next question, question number 13, which says if fx is equal to limit x n tending to infinity x to the power n plus pi by 3 to the power n upon x to the power n minus 1 plus pi by 3 to the power n minus 1, where n is an even integer, then which of the following is incorrect? Clear? So the hint of this question is we can take x to the power n common, right? And after that, see, this is infinity by infinity form, right? So best method to use in infinity by infinity form is take highest power common. After that we will resolve the things, right? Here n is an even integer, you have to remember this, right? So you have 10 seconds to solve this question. After 10 seconds we will discuss the solution. Okay, let's move to the solution part. C, limit, see, since fx equal to limit n tending to infinity x to the power n plus pi by 3 to the power n upon x to the power n minus 1 plus pi by 3 to the power n minus 1 equal to limit n tending to infinity, let's take x as common. So 1 plus c, when we take x as common, we have taken x to the power n common, right? X to the power n common in both numerator and the denominator. So here we can take x to the power n minus 1 common. In the denominator, we have taken x to the power n minus 1 common, and in the numerator, we have taken x to the power n common. So it will be cancelled out, and x will be left out. So x into 1 plus pi by 3x, clear? Pi by 3x, because we have taken x to the power n common, right? So pi by 3x to the power n upon 1 plus pi by 3x to the power n minus 1 is equal to x. It will be x when if like x greater than pi by 3. If x is greater than pi by 3, it will be equal to x, right? And if x is less than pi by 3, then after taking common, clear, we have taken pi by 3 common, right? Pi by 3 common. So this term will be 0, this term will be 0, clear? So we got pi by 3 as answer, right? So note that f of pi by 3 is pi by 3. Therefore, fx is x if x greater than equal to pi by 3, and pi by 3 if x is less than pi by 3, right? So from the given option, it is clear that Option C is incorrect. We had to choose the incorrect option, right? Option C is incorrect. Fx is 1 1 for all x belongs to real. It is incorrect. Clear? Okay, let's move to the next question. Question number 14, which says let fx is equal to limit n tending to infinity summation of k is equal to 1 to n minus 1 x upon kx plus 1 into k plus 1 x plus 1. Then which option is correct? So the hint of this question is we can break uh, k equal to 0 to infinity by adjusting this. See, denominator is kx plus 1 into k plus 1 x plus 1, right? So we can break it as k plus 1 x plus 1 minus kx plus 1, right? So it will be x will be left. Clear? So we can use this approach to solve this question. So you have 10 seconds to solve this question. After that, we will discuss the solution. Okay, let's move to the solution part C. A k plus 1 can be written as x upon kx plus 1 into k plus 1 x plus 1, right? Now it can be written as C. It can be written as k plus 1 x plus 1 minus kx plus 1, right? So after solving this, you will get 1 upon kx plus 1 minus 1 upon k plus 1 x plus 1, right? Therefore, fx is equal to limit n tending to infinity summation of k equal to 0 to n minus 1 and 1 upon kx plus 1 minus 1 upon k plus 1 x plus 1, right? Clear? And it is equal to, since limit n tending to infinity and tending to infinity, right? After solving this C, after taking k equal to 0 to n minus 1, all the things will be cancelled out, right? Only last term will be this term will be left and this term will be left and x plus 1, like see, when you put k is equal to 0, it will be 1, right? It will be 1 minus 1 minus 1 by 2x plus 1, like this. So all the things will be cancelled out and this term will be left. First term of this and last term of this will be left. Clear? Now we have to calculate limit n tending to infinity 1 minus 1 by nx plus 1. So after solving this, you will get 1 if x not equal to 0 and 0 if x equal to 0. Clear? So clearly fx is neither continuous nor differentiable at x equal to 0. Clear? Because it disturbs continuity, right? So option C is the right choice. F is neither continuous nor differentiable. Let's move to the next question, question number 15, which says if x1, x2, x3, x4 are roots of x to the power n plus ax plus b is equal to 0, then the value of x1 minus x2 into x2 minus x3 till x1 minus xn is equal to. So you have 10 seconds to solve this question. After 10 seconds, we will discuss the solution. See, one hint of this question is x to the power, since x1, x2, x3, till x4 is root of this equation till xn. So this can be written as x minus x1 into x minus x2 into x minus x3, like this, right? And we can divide x minus x2 both side and put limit x tending to x1 on the left hand side and limit x tending to x1 on the right hand side, and we can solve this question, right? So after 10 seconds, we will discuss the solution. Okay, let's move to the solution part. See, clearly, as we have discussed, x to the power n plus xa plus b can be written as x minus x1 into x minus x2 till x minus xn, right? So let's divide both sides by x minus x1, right? So it can be now written as x to the power n plus xa plus b upon x minus x1 into is equal to x minus x2 into x minus x3 till x minus xn, right? Now let's take both side limit x tending to x1, x to the power n plus ax plus b upon x minus x1 is equal to x minus x2 into x minus x3 till x minus xn. Now here, see, here we can see that x1 is the root of this equation. So by putting x1, numerator is 0 and denominator is also 0. Clear? So it is 0 by 0 form, right? So we can apply L'Hospital rule. So after differentiating using L'Hospital rule, it is uh, n x to the power n minus 1 plus a upon 1 is equal to x1 minus x2 into x1 minus x3 till x1 minus xn. Clear? So it is equal to n x1 to the power n minus 1 plus 1 plus a is equal to x1 minus x2 into x1 minus x3 till x1 minus xn, right? Clear? So I think answer is n x1 to the power n minus 1 plus a, right? Option B is right choice. Okay. Okay, let's move to the next question, question number 16, which says limit. If limit extending to infinity x ln, determinant value of this is equal to minus 4, where a, b, c are real numbers, then which option is correct? So you have 10 seconds to solve this question. After 10 seconds, we will discuss the solution. The hint of this question is first you have to calculate this determinant and you got the function in x, right? And you can calculate limit extending to infinity and equate this with minus 4, right? And after that you will get the value of a, b and c. Clear? Okay, so you have 10 seconds to solve this question. After 10 seconds we will discuss the solution. Okay, let's move to the solution part. C. Let L limit is equal to limit extending to infinity x ln determinant value of this 1 by x minus bc 0 1 by x minus 1 1 0 1 by x a by x. So it is equal to, after calculating this determinant, it is limit extending to infinity x times ln determinant value of this is a by x cube plus b minus c by x. Clearly for limit to be exist, b is equal to 1, right? For limit to be exist, b should be 1. Clear? As extending to infinity, so this term will be 0, this term will be 0. Clear? So indeterminate form will be infinity into 0. Clear? So ln1 is 0. Clear? So infinity into 0 will be indeterminate form. For this limit to be exist, b should be 1. Clear? Thus limit extending to infinity ln 1 plus a by x cube minus c by x can be written as c equal to limit extending to, since we know that ln 1 plus x can be written as x minus x square by 2 plus x cube by 3 minus x to the power 4 by 4. So we neglect the higher terms, right? That is x square by 2, like this. We neglect these terms. Clear? Because x is tending to infinity, tending to infinity. So if we square this, the bottom term will be more power, right? So when we tend that terms to infinity, it will be 0. So we have neglected terms after this. So this can be written as x into a upon x cube minus c upon x, right? So when limit x tending to infinity, this term is 0. So minus c upon x into x and x got cancelled out. So it is minus c. Clear? So minus c is equal to basically minus 4. Limit is equal to minus 4. So c equal to 4, right? Hence answer will be a belongs to real, b equal to 1 and c is equal to 4. Clear? So this is the required answer. Option D is the right choice. Clear? Let's move to the next question. Question number 17, which says if limit x tending to 0 1 plus x plus fx upon x to the power 1 by x is equal to e to the power cube e cube, then limit x tending to 0 1 plus fx upon x to the power 1 by x is equal to, see, when you see this question, it is 1 to the power infinity form, right? Because when you put x equal to 0, so f0 upon 0, numerator is 1 1 to the power infinity form. Clear? Here it is also 1 to the power infinity form, right? It will be 1 to the power infinity form if f0 upon 0 will be f0 upon 0 will be 0. Clear? So let's see the question. You have 10 seconds to solve this question. After 10 seconds, we will discuss the solution. Okay, let's move to the solution part C. We have limit x tending to 0, 1 plus x plus fx upon x to the power 1 by x is given as e cube. E to the power c. It can be written as one if we can break it in 1 to the power infinity form. As we know this, 1 to the power infinity form can be broken as if fx to the power limit x tending to 0, fx to the power gx can be broken as e to the power limit fx gx into fx minus 1, right? So e to the power limit x tending to 0, 1 plus x plus fx upon x minus 1, fx minus 1 into gx, right? Which is 1 by x, clear? So see, 1 and 1 will be cancelled out when you put limit x tending to 0. It is equal to e cube, right? So limit x tending to 0, 1 plus fx upon x square is basically e cube, clear? So limit x tending to 0, 1 plus fx upon x square is 3. So let's move 1 this side. So limit x tending to 0, fx upon x square is equal to 2, clear? Now uh, let's move to the move to this part. So limit x tending to 0, 1 plus fx upon x to the power 1 by x can be written as again let's break it as 1 to the power infinity form. So we can use the formula limit x tending to 0 e to the fx to the power gx. When fx is tending to 1 and gx is tending to infinity, it can be broken as e to the power limit x tending to 0 gx into fx minus 1, right? Clear? So it can be broken as e to the power limit x tending to 0, 1 plus c fx to the power fx to the power gx. So fx minus 1. So 1 plus fx upon x minus 1 to the power gx, which is 1 by x. Clear? 1 by x. So 1 and 1 will be cancelled out. So it can be broken as c. E to the power x tending to infinity, x tending to 0, fx upon x square is equal to e square, right? Clear? So basically e square, option B is right choice. Because we have actually calculated this term as 2, right? Okay. So in this part, we have used this formula limit x tending to 0, fx to the power gx. When fx is basically 1 and gx is basically infinity, it can be written as e to the power limit x tending to 0, gx into fx minus 1, right? Clear? We have to use this part. Okay, let's move to the next question, question number 18. Which says if function fx is discontinuous only at x equal to 0, such that f square x is equal to 1 for all x belongs to real, the total number of such function is, so we have to find total number of such function is c f square x. The hint of this question is c. Fx is discontinuous at x equal to 0, we know this. So and f square x is equal to 1, clear, for all x equal to x belongs to real. So first we will find the value of fx, clear, by using f square x equal to 1, and we will find whether total number of how many such functions exist or not, clear. So you have 10 seconds to solve this question. After 10 seconds we will discuss the solution. Okay, let's move to the solution part C. We have f square x equal to 1 for all x belongs to real. F can take value 1 or minus 1, right? Since f is discontinuous only at x equal to 0, right? Therefore f may be one of the following function. Let if fx is 1 when x less than equal to 0 or minus 1 when x greater than 0. Case 2 fx equal to 1 when x less than 0 and minus 1 when x greater than equal to 0. Case 3 when fx equal to minus 1 when x less than equal to 0 and 1 when x greater than 0. Case 4 is fx equal to minus 1 when x less than 0 and 1 when x greater than equal to 0. Case 5, fx equal to 1 when x greater than 0 and 1 when x less than 0 and minus 1 when x equal to 0. Clear? And case 6 is fx equal to minus 1 when x greater than 0, minus 1 when x less than 0 and 1 when x is equal to 0. Clear? So I think option C is right choice. 6 cases, right? 6 cases agar. So let's move to the next question, question number 19, which says if fx is equal to x mod x and gx equal to sin x, statement 1 says g of fx is differentiable at x equal to 0 and its derivative is continuous at that point. Statement 2 is g of fx is twice differentiable at x equal to 0. Clear? So we have to find whether statement 1 is true or 2 is true or statement 1 or 2 is correct explanation of each other or not. So the hint of this question is, let's find x as piecewise function and gx. Gx is given as sin x. And let's find g of fx and check whether it is differentiable or not, right? So first we have to break it in piecewise function, right? So you have 10 seconds to solve this question. After 10 seconds, we will discuss the solution. Okay, let's move to the solution part C. Fx is basically x mod x and gx is sin x. So g of fx is basically sin x mod sin x, which can be minus of sin x square when x is less than 0 and sin of x square when x greater than equal to 0. Clear? Now g of f dash x is basically minus, after differentiating this you will get minus of 2x cos x square when x less than 0 and 2x cos x square when x greater than equal to 0. Clearly limit g of g of f dash 0 is equal to 0 and it is also right hand limit, right? Because we have put it is 0. So clearly g of f is differentiable at x equal to 0 and also its derivative is continuous at x equal to 0. Clear? So I think option B is right choice. Statement 1 is true. Since g of f is differentiable at x equal to 0 and its derivative is continuous at x equal to 0. Clear? Now, see, g of f, let's calculate g of f double dash x. So it is basically like this. When x less than 0, it is this one, and when x greater than 0, this is this one after differentiating this. So limit g of f double dash x 0 is equal to minus 2 and right hand limit g of f double dash 0 is equal to 2. Clear? Therefore, left hand limit g of f double dash 0 not equal to right hand limit g of f double dash 0. Clear? Hence, g of fx is not twice differentiable at x equal to 0. Therefore, statement 1 is true, statement 2 is false. Clear? So I think option D is right choice. Clear? Statement 1 is true, statement 2 is false. Option D is right choice. Clear? Statement 1 is true, statement 2 is false. Clear? Let's move to the next question, question number 20, which says statement 1 says fx is equal to 3x minus 1 mod 4x square minus 12x plus 5 cos pi x is differentiable at x equal to 1 by 2 and 5 by 2. And statement 2 says cos of 2n plus 1 pi by 2 is equal to 0 for all and belongs to I. Clear? So again, you have 10 seconds to solve this question. After 10 seconds, we will discuss the solution. Okay, let's move to the solution part C. Statement 1 is C. This portion 4x square minus 12x plus 5 is non-differentiable at x equal to 1 by 2 and 5 by 2. Clear? Clear? But cos pi x equal to 0 at those points, right? So f dash 1 by 2 and f dash 5 by 2 exists, right? So statement 1 is correct. Clear? And this term we know is 0. And because of this term is 0, this has become continuous. This has become exists, right? Differentiable, that means this exists because of this thing. So statement 2 is correct explanation of statement 1. Right? So option A is right choice. Clear? So let's move to the next question, question number 21, which says define fx as product of two real functions f1x is equal to x x belongs to I, and f2x is equal to sine 1 by x if x not equal to 0, and 0 if x equal to 0, as follows: fx equal to f1x into f2x if x not equal to 0, and 0 if x equal to 0. So you have to check whether statement 1 is true or not. Clear? Statement 1 is fx is continuous on I R, and statement 2 is basically f1x and f2x are continuous on I R. Clear? So you have 10 seconds to solve this question. After 10 seconds, we will discuss the solution. Okay, let's move to the solution part. C. fx is basically x sine 1 by x. fx is C. fx is the product of two real functions f1x and f2x. Clear? C. So fx is basically, and fx is basically f1x into f2x if x not equal to 0, and 0 if x equal to 0. So fx is x into sine 1 by x if x not equal to 0, and 0 if x equal to 0. Clear? So to check continuity at x equal to 0, left hand limit limit h tending to 0 minus of h sine minus of 1 by h equal to 0. Clear? And right hand limit h tending to 0 h sine 1 by h is equal to 0, and f0 is also 0. Clear? So fx is continuous at x equal to 0, hence statement 1 is true. Now f2x can be written as 1 sine 1 by x when x not equal to 0, and 0 when x equal to 0. Hence limit extending to 0 f2x is equal to limit extending to 0 sine 1 by x, which does not exist. Clear? So f2x is not continuous at x equal to 0, hence statement 2 is false. Clear? Statement 2 is false. Option D is correct answer. Statement 1 is true and statement 2 is false. Clear? Now let's move to the question number 22, which says consider this function fx equal to mod x minus 2 plus mod x minus 5, x belongs to real, and statement 1 says that f dash 0 is equal f dash 4 is equal to 0, and statement 2 says that f is continuous in 2 to 5 and differentiable in 2 to 5, and f2 is equal to f5. Clear? So you have to find whether statement 1 is true or not, or statement 1 2 is true or not, and whether statement 1 and 2 is correct explanation of each other or not. So you have 10 seconds to solve this question. After 10 seconds, we will discuss the solution. Okay, so fx can be written as mod x minus 2 plus mod x minus 5, and it is equal to 2 minus x plus 5 minus x when x less than 2, x minus 2 plus 5 minus x when x is between 2 to 5, x minus 2 plus x minus 5 when x is greater than 5. So after solving this, fx is 7 minus 2x when x less than 2, 3 when x is between 2 to 5, and 2x minus 7x when x is greater than 5. Now we can draw the graph of f very easily. So fx is basically 7 minus 2x when x is less than 2, and it is y is equal to 3 when x is between 2 to 5, and 2x minus 7 when x is greater than 5. Clear? So we can draw the graph of fx. So statement 1 is f dash 4 is equal to 0. It is obviously clear that f is constant from 2 to 5. Clear? Around x equal to 4. Hence f dash 4 is equal to 0. Hence statement 1 is correct. Statement 2 can be clearly seen that f is continuous for all x belongs to 2 to 5. F is differentiable for all x belongs to 2 to 5. And statement 3 says that f of 2 is equal to f of 5 is equal to 3. Hence statement 2 is also correct, but obviously not a correct explanation of statement 1, right? So I think option B is right choice. Clear? Okay. Thank you.